Well, good afternoon, students. We'll continue our analog communication subject now, and this is going to be the second introductory session for on analog communications. And in the last class, we discussed about why we use analog communications and what techniques are normally implemented to do the analog communications. Okay, so here in this class, we are normally going to address three objectives. First objective is going to be basically the classification of all the communication systems and general block diagram of a communication system, and finally the general process of the AM and FM modulation schemes. So first of all, before we understand more into the subject, first of all, it is better for us to understand about the various classifications of the communication systems. Thereby we understand that where we are actually in the analog communications, in the entire communication system process. So when you think about entire communication systems, we have two types of communications. One is going to be a line communication, another one is going to be a radio communication. So line communication is nothing but a wired communication, whereas radio communication is known as a wireless communication. So now this line communication is basically going to be used for television sets, okay, used for intercom communications, okay, which is not our point of discussion in the present subject. So our entire communication is going to be of radio communication. That is why I have given you for the classification of the radio communication, which is a wireless communication. So radio communication is classified based on three subdivisions. One is unidirectional or bidirectional mode of communication. So the first one is unidirectional or bidirectional mode of communication. Second one is nature of information signal that we are transmitting, and next is the techniques of the transmission. So first of all, unidirectional or bidirectional mode of communication. It all depends on the mode of communication that we are interested to implement in the communication system. What are the different modes we have? We have simplex mode, we have half duplex mode, and we have full duplex mode. So in the case of simplex mode, how do we implement simplex? What is simplex? Simplex is going to be a one-way communication. A transmitter will remain as a transmitter and a receiver will always remain as a receiver. That is called simplex mode of communication. The next mode is half duplex. Half duplex is going to be a two-way communication but not simultaneously. So a transmitter and receiver both will act like a transmitter and receiver interchangeably but not simultaneously. That is going to be called as half duplex kind of a communication. So the best example for simplex communication is going to be your radio communication and television communication, where the transmitter always going to be act like a transmitter and the receiver is always going to act like a receiver. Coming to half duplex, it is going to be simple example like walkie-talkies which we see with the police people. So in walkie-talkie it is going to be two-way communication but not simultaneously. And next one is the full duplex communication, FDX. So full duplex means both the transmitter and receiver can communicate simultaneously. It is like the best example is going to be our cellular mobile communication system or telephone communication system, where both parties can talk simultaneously. The next is nature of the information signal. Yeah, this is what very important point we have to bother about. That is based on the nature of the information signal, we have two types of communication systems. One is analog communication system, another one is digital communication system. So if the information signal is analog in nature, it is going to be analog communication system. What is the meaning of analog? Analog means what? Continuous in nature or sinusoidal in nature. It is called analog signal. What about digital information signal? It is going to be in discrete form or in digital form. If the information signal is in the form of discrete or digital form, it comes under the digital communication system. Okay, so then next criteria is going to be like classification is based on the techniques of the transmission. There are two types of transmission techniques involved. One is baseband transmission, another one is communication using a modulation scheme. Now in the syllabus, we are going to deal with the communication using the modulation scheme. What do you mean by baseband transmission scheme? In baseband transmission scheme, we transmit signal as it is. That means the signal bandwidth will be transmitted as it is without any modifications, without any changes we transmit in the case of the baseband communication system. Whereas in the case of modulation scheme, we are normally going to transform or change the information signal frequency into a high frequency. Then we transmit information as part of the high frequency in the case of the modulation scheme. And now here also we are going to have two types of communication systems involved using modulation. So we are going to have analog communication system ACS, we are going to have digital communication system DCS. This analog communication system is actually further subdivided into actually two. Basically we are going to have two. One is going to be continuous wave modulation. Next one is pulse modulation. This pulse modulation I have not drawn here, but in the due course of time we'll discuss about pulse modulation. This ACS is divided into two. One is continuous wave modulation, next one is pulse modulation. So these AM and FM PM will comes under the continuous wave modulation scheme. So this AM scheme is further subdivided into four, that is DSB-FC, DSB-SC, SSB-SC, VSB-SC. What is DSB-FC? It is double sideband full carrier. DSB-SC is going to be double sideband suppressed carrier, and SSB-SC is single sideband suppressed carrier. VSB-SC is vestigial sideband modulation scheme. And next is we have two more modulation schemes, that is FM and PM. So frequency modulation and phase modulation. Collectively we call them as a angle modulation. In the pulse modulation scheme we are going to have PAM, PWM, PPM as we discussed in the previous class. So that will be there in the modulation scheme. So now using this modulation scheme we are normally going to transmit the signal from the transmitter side to the receiver side. So whatever type of modulation we perform here in the transmitter, exactly reverse operation has to be performed at the receiver side. That means the receiver should be in sync, almost all in sync with the transmitter. That means let us suppose if a transmitter is going to transmit the signal using AM modulation scheme, and the receiver should compulsorily demodulate that signal for the AM modulation scheme. So similarly, if a transmitter is going to transmit FM signal, receiver should receive the signal in the demodulation scheme. Pass. Right. So now let us think about a general block diagram of a communication system. When you think about a communication system basically contains three basic elements. One is going to be a transmitter, a channel and a receiver. Now here we deal with a radio communication meant for long distance communication. Radio communication is meant for long distance, not for short distance. If you wanted to communicate signal in a short distance, we better go with a wide communication kind of a thing. But if it is going to be a long distance communication like television communication, like radio communication, we normally go with a radio communication techniques called analog communication techniques. So apart from these three blocks such as transmitter, channel and receiver, I have drawn some other blocks in this particular block diagram, which are known as the information source, next detector, and one more I have drawn like noise, appearance of noise in the communication block. So here what happens is there should be a source of a signal. Say for example, human voice want to get transmitted. Say my voice want to get transmitted in the wireless medium. Now my voice is going to be the information source. Now my voice, which is acoustic in nature, my voice is acoustic in nature. This acoustic voice cannot be transmitted to a longer distance. That is why this particular acoustic signal has to be converted into the electrical signal. So acoustic signal is known as a physical system. Now what is the basic job of information source? The information source is going to give the data which is to be transmitted. The data may be in the form of a human voice, it may be a binary file, it may be a video, okay, it may be a gestures, etc. Anything it could be. Whatever is coming physically, it may be a temperature, it may be heat, whatever it is coming, that is called as information source. That information source is given to the transmitter. What the transmitter will do? Transmitter will simply convert this non-electrical signal or physical signal into an electrical signal. So after that, this transmitter is going to process that electrical signal so that it can be transmitted through a desired channel to the receiver now. So now That means the design of the transmitter depends on the type of the channel. So based on the type of the channel, we normally going to process the electrical signal in the transmitter so that it can be transmitted effectively up to the receiver. So that is what the transmitter part will do. That means whatever modulation we do, we normally going to do modulation in the transmitter side. Then channel. What is the channel now? Channel is going to be a wireless channel, that is a free space, open space or a free space channel we normally going to have. That is why I have shown you with this Z kind of a symbol. Z kind of a symbol indicates that it is a free space. Now there is nothing in between transmitter and a receiver. It is something like our mobile phone technology. In a mobile phone, the sender is at one side, at one place, receiver is at another place. Now at a far away distance, they are communicating with each other. So that kind of a scenario is normally seen over here. But cellular mobile technology architecture is different, but general communication is this. So transmitter is going to transmit signal in a wireless media. This wireless media is known as a channel. I have represented this entire wireless media as a channel block. Then I am going to have a receiver, then I am going to have a detector. Now there is always going to be possibility of adding some external noise into the channel. Some noise is going to get added into the channel, and by the time the signal received by the receiver, we normally going to see some signal with noise. So we have to filter that noise at the receiver side. So that means in the basic block diagram, noise is also going to be part of the communication system. Now receiver is going to receive this electromagnetic signal which is travelled. Then receiver is going to process that signal, demodulate the signal transmitted, and it is given to the actual detector. Now what is the heart of the transmitter circuit? The heart of the transmitter circuit is going to be the modulator. So we have discussed about this communication using modulation process. So this modulator is going to be heart of the transmitter circuit, and the demodulator is going to be heart of the receiver circuit. So next one is going to be like this transmitter is normally going to modulate the signal so that it can be transmitted through the channel, and then the receiver is going to demodulate the signal. Now here we are making some assumptions. What are the assumptions we are making in this analog communication subject? We don't have information source, we directly got a transmitter. This transmitter has got a signal in electrical in nature. So that signal we are now processing so that it can be transmitted through the channel. We are not discussing on how we transmit the signal in the wireless medium. That will be taken care by the transmitting antenna, and reception part also will be taken care by the receiving antenna, which we discuss in the antennas and wave propagation subject. It is another part for us. So now we are interested in only working at the transmitter section and at the receiver section as far as modulation and demodulation is concerned, and we are interested in working about some part in the channel, regarding the channel noise. That's all we are going to discuss in the entire syllabus. So that is why the first unit of our analog communication comprises of the analog modulation techniques. These 4 techniques we normally going to discuss in the unit number 1. Unit number 2 we discuss about angle modulation, which is a combination of FM and PM. So angle modulation is comprising of FM and PM. FM is once again subdivided into wideband FM and narrowband FM. That also we discuss in the second unit number 2. And third unit we discuss about pulse modulation techniques like PIM, PWM, PPM. How we modulate, how we demodulate. That is the process of this. That is the point of discussion in the entire syllabus. So what we discuss in the entire syllabus is how we modulate, how we demodulate. That's all. Whatever may be the techniques we normally implement. So these techniques are used to modulate and reverse process, that is called demodulation, how we do in the process. That is what we discuss. And apart from this, if the information signal is digital or discrete, we normally going to have a digital communication system where the digital modulation techniques are going to be ASK, PSK, BPSK, which we don't have in the syllabus. ASK stands for amplitude shift keying, PSK is phase shift keying, this is binary phase shift keying, etc. So all this part we are not discussing because we don't have this in the syllabus. We have only this portion, that is this portion we have in the syllabus. Only this much part we are going to discuss. And This entire modulation, this modulation part is being taken care at the transmitter side. Now in the practical applications, what we are going to have, we are going to combine various modes of radio communications. Like we are going to use based on the application, maybe simplex, the nature may be analog, signal nature is analog, and the technique of transmission is going to be using modulation technique. So that means in the practical applications, we are going to use all these three classifications to get into an application, because application is going to be an application. By combining all these into one, we normally going to get the different types of communications like microwave communication, satellite communication, so on and so forth. Okay, so like that, fiber optic communication, all these communications we normally going to get by mixing up all these classifications. So that is not our discussion. Our discussion is only analog communication, that too communication system using analog communication systems, only that much we discuss. Now let us think about how we are going to change the characteristics of this carrier with respect to the modulating signal. Now what is the concept we discussed in the last class? Information signal. Information signal is of low frequency. We cannot transmit this low frequency into a longer distance. That is why we are taking the help of this dummy carrier signal. So carrier signal is known as a dummy signal. That is a multiple choice question. So we are taking the help of a high frequency dummy carrier signal. So using this carrier signal, we are transmitting this particular message. Now you see here, see this in the amplitude modulation technique, what we are doing now. Now how can I say that the C of t frequency is more than m of t frequency? See here, by the time when m of t completes one cycle, the C of t signal has completed many cycles. That means the frequency of this signal is more than the frequency of the message signal. So such a frequency signal we normally going to take it over here, and after we take this frequency, now we modulate. Once we modulate, what is the meaning of modulation? We simply multiply the message signal with the carrier signal. We get a resultant signal called S of t, sum. Okay, resultant signal as S of t. Now this S of t will be getting as something like this. See here, here the carrier signal amplitude is normally going to get varied with respect to the variations of the message signal. See here, amplitude is increasing. As amplitude is increasing, the amplitude of this carrier signal is increasing here. As amplitude is decreasing, the amplitude of the carrier is normally going to decrease. By the time it reaches, right. So now here what we have got is here, like we are going to modulate the low frequency signal. We are going to modulate the carrier signal with respect to the low frequency signal. So that means we are going to change the characteristics of the high frequency signal with respect to the variations of the message signal. If you change amplitude of the carrier, it is called as amplitude modulation. If you change frequency of the carrier, it is called frequency modulation. If you change phase of the carrier with respect to the message signal, it is called a phase modulation. So let us see here now what we are doing now. Simply we are multiplying m of t into C of t to get a modulated signal. Now when we multiply this m of t and C of t together, what kind of signal we are going to get? We are going to get like this signal, which is going to be having two envelopes, positive envelope as well as negative envelope, because we have positive side as well as negative side here for the carrier. That is why we have got positive side, negative side with respect to this. When you multiply these two, what should happen now? See, the amplitude of the carrier is increasing. The amplitude of the carrier is increasing with respect to the amplitude of the message signal. It is decreasing with respect to decreasing of the message signal. So like this, the envelope of the carrier is normally going to vary with respect to the amplitude variations of the message signal. That means since the amplitude of the carrier is changing, we call it as a amplitude modulation. Now similar kind of a thing we normally implement in the frequency modulation. See, in the frequency modulation, here I have not drawn the carrier signal, anyway carrier is there here. So as the input signal amplitude is increasing, what is happening? The frequency of the carrier signal is increasing. As frequency increases, what is going to happen? What is frequency? F is equal to 1 by t. As t decreases, frequency increases. So that means here I am drawing a signal with very small time period. Cycle with a very small time period means what? Frequency is increasing. So as the amplitude of signal is increasing, frequency is increasing. As the amplitude of signal is decreasing, see here the frequency is simply decreasing. So with this we are simply modulating the carrier with respect to frequency. That is why it is called as a frequency modulation. So similarly we are going to get a phase modulation. The phase of the signal here we are starting with 0. Here also 0. Now phase is going to start with 90 degrees phase, then everything is normally going to be same following to that. Only phase will be continuously changing with respect to the carrier, and all that part we discuss in the next class when we discuss about the time domain and the frequency domain in detail. Next class we deal with the time domain representation and frequency domain representation of this particular modulation schemes, which has been covered by Subhakar sir in the signals and systems. Now same thing we discuss in the communication part, application part, right? So thank you very much for your patient listening.